Over the next 1 hour, there's lots lined up for you, but let's get you started with a super exclusive news break here on this broadcast. 38 Indian nationals who were victims of job offers of a transnational crime syndicate in Myanmar were repatriated to India yesterday. Now, this is in a series of rescue efforts that have been taken by the MEA with their counterparts in Myanmar. Remember, so far 160 Indian nationals have been rescued and brought back home. But now, CNN-News18 has learned that there is a clear Chinese link to the entire scam. This is the exclusive information that we have accessed for you. The Chinese link and how they operated, of how they lured these Indian techies and allegedly then abducted and tortured them, many of who have now been repatriated back home due to efforts that have been going on since July this year from the MEA's side. The centre has been in constant touch with their counterparts both in Myanmar and in Thailand as well. Abhishek, my colleague, now joins me for more on this. Abhishek, there seems to be a clear Chinese link emerging. Some companies of Chinese origin are behind this scam.
Of course, and we know that it's been long believed that Chinese nationals and very much organized syndicates are working in these South Asian nations, recruiting people and forcing them to do this spamming and money laundering things in the name of cyber in the cyber world. And when this whole Indians being trapped in Midos news came, the Chinese were the first who looked suspicious in the sense that they have a full-fledged, well-organized system where they recruit people from nearby countries like Thailand and they take them back to Myanmar where they seize their passport and then force them to do work as per their own wishes. So now, with the latest batch of about 39 Indians being rescued and brought to India, there are still reports of Indians being trapped there, but Indian agencies or the government's High Commissioner in Myanmar, they are trying to reach out to the people through official channels or informal channels because the region where this spamming thing or cyber crime thing is happening is very much in a conflicted zone where government does not have a full-fledged authority. So the Indian authorities there are trying to reach out to the people through various means and through various interlocutors so that Indians trapped there could be rescued as soon as possible.
Right, Abhishek, do stay on with me because let's just break this down for our viewers of what exactly has transpired. And it is a month-long or several months-long operation that has actually been underway by the MEA here in India, trying to get in touch with their counterparts both in Myanmar and in Thailand as well, where these techies were abducted and actually kept there. Now, this is the Chinese link that now seems to be emerging, and this is what we've learned from our sources within the intelligence sources. There are Indians that were trapped by these Chinese companies. They were operating in a gambling town in Myanmar. So all of these Indian techies were taken there. Then given to understand that there are agents in India and in Dubai through whom these Indian techies were lured by these Chinese companies and then eventually taken there. These techies were recruited in the name of online marketing. They were then pushed into this scamming business. That's what we're now learning from our sources. There were several other foreign nationals that were duped as well, not just Indians. There were other nationalities that also fell prey to this kind of a scam that was run by these Chinese companies. Since 2002 in May, several foreign nationals have landed in that particular gambling town, many of whom were Indians. 160 so far have been repatriated. Now, here is a look at the modus operandi of how these Chinese firms actually operated. These are online casinos that are banned in China. In mainland China, gambling and these online casinos are banned. So these companies that want to operate their operations for gambling, for online casinos, they do so elsewhere, which is why these Chinese-run scamming companies have established their base in at least 2 towns known as gambling towns in Myanmar. That's the modus operandi that they follow to try and escape the laws that are in place on mainland China. The next, what they do is they scam these techies, not just from India, but around the world via agents that are based in their particular country. They lure the youth with basic computer skills to do scam jobs. So anyone who has any basic computer skills is someone who is hireable for them, and that's what they're looking for. Youth, especially young boys and girls, because they fall prey to the opportunity of having to work abroad or perhaps the money that is being promised to them. Allegedly, these employees are also then being tortured by their managers, all of whom who are Chinese, to achieve their targets. So not only are they kept there against their will and scammed into doing a job that they were told not to, they're also being tortured. There are long hours, is what many of these Indian techies who are now back home have also told CNN News 18. Those SOS messages, remember, came to the fore from both Myanmar and Thailand as well. So that's really the modus operandi of how this entire nexus worked. And Abhishek, my colleague, continues to be with me. Abhishek, whether these Chinese firms were operating on their own, did they have any sort of support from China or from the administration? That is also something that will have to be investigated.
I see. One can only wish to understand that if a syndicate which is so much organized that it has expansion from Myanmar to Cambodia to the part of Laos as well, there has to be some informal government setup who would let this flourish. Otherwise, it would not be possible to have a syndicate or an organized crime spanning across these 3-4 countries and operating with full force. Also, the part of the money that they earn do go to the revolutionaries or the militia who are operating in these countries of Cambodia, Laos or Myanmar. We know that in Myanmar there is a military junta which is currently operating, and part of various pockets in the country are still not very much reachable by the government authorities because juntas does not wield the kind of connect or the control in those regions, and revolutionaries forces or the militias hold the control. So it's a clear money laundering process where everybody is earning money through scamming or spamming process, while the Chinese provide the expertise in the name of luring young professionals, promising them high money and high promotion. The money is clearly earned, and it must be distributed at multiple levels to let this organized setup continue to flourish in so many countries at one point in time for various years.
Absolutely. Now we've heard, and it's also under investigation, the linkages of Chinese firms that have been scamming Indians. This, of course, is a separate case. This is also to do with taking them into another country altogether. But there are also these Chinese loan apps, and they are under investigation for their operations here in India as well.
Of course, and the Chinese loan app case that you have rightly mentioned, we have seen in the last several months so many cases of distressed people taking their own lives because of they fell prey to this Chinese loan app which promises loan at a very easy conditions, and they do provide loan of 5,000, 50,000 or 1 lakh rupee at easy installments. But then they try to exploit people also. Sometimes they have stored data from their mobile and their photograph or personal information were put on the public domain. That kind of force people to further desperation. So clearly, Chinese warlords in cyberspace are a real menace in this South Asian region, and they are trying to exploit young professionals.